Hello, and welcome back to episode 10 of this casual guide. So for this episode today, we're just going to be going through Hirata 2, as we call it, which is an optional area that is going to give us access to the purification ending. So if you just want to beat the game, you can skip this and the next episode, go right to episode 12. But I wanted to show this. I think Purification is a really good ending. It's really cool. There's an additional boss. So I wanted to show it, so we're going to. So we're back at Dilapidated Shrine. Dilapidated Temple, rather. And we, rather than warping back to Hirata, we need to use this idol again with the bell that we got from Emma prior to this. If you did not do the extra Emma dialogue like I showed before, then you can't actually do this. You can miss out on this for a playthrough, which is another reason why I wanted to show it, just so that everyone was aware that you have to do that for the ending before this. So we use this again, and it's going to take us back to Hirata, but a different version of Hirata. So we're going to run straight forward. You'll pass this guy. His dialogue, unfortunately, is going to take a while. So we can't actually sit at an idol while he's talking. So I'm going to kind of kite these guys around this building. And then come and sit here. Rest, there we go. That'll de-aggro them. You kind of want to position so that the idol kind of blocks them. And now we've got to do another drunkard fight. Hooray! So, there's a couple ways to do this. I think probably the most casual friendly route is the one I'll show first. We're going to be using one blood smoke ninjutsu, but that's the only consumable we need, so you're not going to need gotchin or like anything else. I think it's worth just farming the 6 spirit emblems if you need to like retry this multiple times. The only thing about this method is that we're not going to get a stealth death blow to start out the fight on drunkard. So that is the one downside, is you have to fight 2 phases of drunkard, but it's pretty easy to kill everything else with this method. So we're going to sneak around behind this guy here. Backstab and ninjutsu. That'll cause Lone Shadow to lose us, and then we can backstab him. And then we can just kind of run up and kill this last archer. And now I'll show some drunkard fighting. So, I saw his foot coming up for that. When he's got the poison on his blade, you want to just like dodge rather than parrying. Because you'll get poison buildup even if you parry. And that will almost always be a double if you're standing in front of him. So that's kind of the parry strats. Like I said, you can also just kind of like dodge behind him if you're more comfortable with that. Just the grab. Just kind of keep walking behind him and kind of dodge to his side whenever you think an attack is coming. That's probably the easiest way. I think parrying this boss is actually very fun, but you will have an easier time, probably, just dodging through his attacks. Especially if you've played Souls games before. And now I'll show some of the other ways. So if you do want to use, if you do have gotchin sugars to use and you don't mind using them, there are 2 different ways you can use them to get a backstab on the first phase of drunkard. So I'll show both of those now. There's one with a quit out and one without a quit out. So without a quit out, I'm going to kill this guy with 4 shurikens. Can run behind him here, get the backstab. That angle takes a little bit of practice, but it's not too bad. I'm gonna go kill this guy, hit X to vault over him. Or jump, rather, you know, to vault over him. If you have the vault over skill unlocked, and then that lets me get a backstab on him and do the blood smoke ninjutsu. Dodge so I don't get poisoned. Yeah, I guess you do need vault over for this one. Let me go back and show where vault over is in the skill tree. So yeah, I can't remember if I mentioned it before, but vault over, if I mentioned it in the guide, but vault over is here. It's like 2 skill points, I think. And so we definitely grabbed the Shinobi Eyes for upgraded Makiri, and then you can just grab this one right after. It's fairly inexpensive. So that is useful for this strat. If you don't have vault over, though, you can kill him and then manually walk behind him and then get the backstab. It's just like a little trickier. Now, if you have a Gotchin Sugar and you don't mind quitting out as well, what you can do is 1, 2, 3, 4, run around this rock and then to the right, backstab this guy, run up and kill this guy, and then you can quit out as soon as he's dead. And so this will leave the enemies dead. And then it'll spawn us back on the rock here because of the way that the like stable ground and quit out save position works. And then you can just walk up right behind Drunkard and backstab and do the fight as normal. I'm going to parry this time because I like parrying. So he drank his poison there. That means he can do either the poison breath or he can buff his blade with poison, but if we stay near him, he kind of doesn't get a chance to, really. And yeah, the poison breath also just kind of misses if you're up close like that. Parry strats are fun. Now, the other thing you can kind of do if you're, like, desperate or you're, like, out of gotchins, you're, like, you just want to get the fight done, you really want to skip, but you also really want to skip phase 1, then you can kind of do the, you can do this first, you could do the first strat I showed, backstab, blood smoke, kill this guy, kill the last archer, and just like I showed with like all that time ago that you can do with Ogre, that works with a lot of mini bosses. You can like run away, and eventually Drunkard will de-aggro. And then once he's de-aggroed, you can run back through. So if you're patient and you really want to get the backstab each time, you can do that. And then just sneak up behind him once he resets to his position. And then you can also kind of speed up the process with a quit out once everything is de-aggroed from you. This guy's not. These guys have more health than before, but their movesets are still really easy. So see, he walks back, you can walk back and do it. You could also, like, as soon as everything's de-aggroed, you can quit out. And that will also put him back at his spawn. And now everything else stays dead, but he's de-aggroed, so we can just skip phase 1, go right to phase 2 fight. A Drunkard is also another boss. Like, if you walk up to him and he's not actively doing something, you have to be a little careful because of his quick foot stomp he can do with his left foot. But yeah, this fight is actually really fun, I think. I'm always saying on stream that, like, Drunkard is actually one of the better mini-bosses in the game, but everyone hates him because every single fight where they let you fight Drunkard, they make you fight a ton of ads, so, like, no one gets to learn him properly, and everyone hates him. Because his fights are always annoying, even though the boss itself is actually pretty cool. Then we just run through the right here. Grab this idol and rest. There we go. I don't know how that guy missed me, but he did. And yeah, now we're on to Owl Father. So there's a way you can start the fight. Your very first attempt, you can get extra damage on him. Because he's like this, and I could just run up and hit him, which is what we would do in the speedrun. But I'm actually going to switch the fight into its aggroed state by starting the fight and then quitting out. So from here on, we'll be showing more likely what you'll have, because you're probably not going to first try this fight. This is a harder fight. Alright, so to start off with, I'm going to show, like, the no mortal draw, very, like, casual, the way that you would fight him. So Owl, he behaves differently in the second fight than in his first. He has more attacks. Also, like, the way that his parries work is different. Instead of it being variable when he'll parry you, he'll always do it a certain time. So I kind of think that makes the fight easier. But now he also has, like, perilous attacks, the unblockables, both sweeps and thrusts. So I'll try to give you a very thorough like, lesson in all of his attacks. We'll just spend the rest of the episode on this fight. You can run up and hit him to start. Much like Owl 1, though, you can kind of try to do that. So for the slam, I recommend just walking to his right, rather than waiting. You can just, like, run away if you really don't want to deal with it, but walking to the right and baiting a consistent... You can go to the left, too, if you need to. But yeah, my recommendation is baiting a consistent attack out of that instead of trying to time the... Instead of trying to time the slam. I'll try to just run away next time, though. Like, so you could just back out. If you really don't want to deal with it, just run away. It's fine. The big thing, I think that the mistake that people make casually in this fight a lot is they're always, like, running or jumping after him. But it's very easy to get hit if you're, like, doing running attacks into him, rather than just kind of slowly walking towards him. It's a sweep. And he'll go from sweep into the slow combo. But if you just kind of slowly walk towards him, then it's easier for you to cancel into a parry. It's easier to just not attack if he starts something up. So if you're, like, just kind of slowly and patiently, like, always moving towards him, that is by far the safest way to take the fight. You can just hit him to start off here as he goes into phase 2. Now this, the owl will try to go behind us. You don't have to parry that, you can just, like, run away from it, but... There's, like, 2 different drops he can do when he goes into owl form, basically. But he'll always try to fly, like, behind you. He has, like, a quick drop that's 1 combo. But yeah, so you just walk forward like that. You'll avoid anything he can do out of the drop. And see, this time, in phase 2, he'll chase you if you run away from the slam. So I recommend the sidestep. This is his only thrust attack. He throws the fire owl at you, and then you jump over it, and then you Makiri him. Not a terribly difficult attack to deal with. The big thing to know about that one is that So I know he's going to go right there, so I can just walk away. The big thing to know about the Fire Owl is that if you hit him while he's casting the Fire Owl will still come out, but he won't do the Makiri. So it's actually a lot worse for you. And see, there's Firecracker into the thrust. It's the same Shadow Rush attack, is what it's called, Shadow Rush, but... Step to the side. So yeah, you generally don't want to cancel him out of the owl thing. Just let him do it. Oops. I jumped super early there, but see, it doesn't really matter. We have so much health. It's insane to me. And then again, you can thrust him on that specific attack there. Don't thrust at him normally. He'll just Makiri and kill you, but you can learn to do it for that specific combo. That's the quick drop, so you just run away. That's like the one where he doesn't go behind you. Yeah, if he's really close and does the thrust, it's hard to Makiri him, but also he'll miss, so it doesn't really matter. Hello. It is kind of annoying that the owl, like, is meant to distract you and stuff, make it harder to see what he's doing, but once you really learn his combos, it's not that bad. Yeah, that's the fight, basically. I think I got to show, like, pretty much all of his attacks there. I'll show the cycle we do for the speedrun, though. Because, like, maybe you don't want to do it exactly, but there's, like, aspects of it you could try to implement for some extra damage. Okay, so I don't exactly have all the tools that I would have in the speedrun, so I have to do it a little bit differently, but, and we also don't have all the quite as much damage as we do in the speedrun, but it should roughly be a similar cycle, so I'll go ahead and show it. So, Yasha, jump, jump. I'm basically just using Mortal Draw dead angles to do a lot of damage. And then between phases here, I can also get a bunch of Mortal Draw damage. And then when you parry the owl, every follow-up that he has to that will also give you Mortal Draw damage. And with speedrun stats and stuff, he'd be dead, but... You can at least do some Mortal Draw like that for damage when he does the sweeps and stuff. It's just normally in the speedrun we would have more emblems and a bit more attack power. The hard part is you do have to dead angle it, so you have to, like, aim away from him and then hit him with the side. That's the reason I didn't, like, mention it too much in the more standard casual section. Especially if you're going to be trying to, like, really burn him down fast. But you can use it in the initial parts of the fight to get some easy health damage off if you would like to. You can also just Firecracker him and then Mortal Draw like once or twice just to chip some health off. That's a strat that works on most bosses if you just want to get like a little health off for free. And then you typically don't need a dead angle. But yeah, that's Hirata 2. We have everything we need to trigger the purification ending, which is my personal favorite ending, which is yet another reason why I wanted to include it in this guide, because I love purification ending. So yeah, I think we're going to call it here. We'll have one more bonus episode with random additional bosses and mini-bosses you can go do to like get more beads, or including, in some cases, get more attack power before the final fight. But you can just also head right to the final fight if you want. And I will see you guys then.